Merry Christmas, everyone. This is Old Soldier. Today, we are going to talk about my favorite tactical watches. These are my favorite watches. Let's talk about them one by one. Sorry for all the multicam, but as we all know, multicam makes things 30% more deadlier. Hopefully in this case, not 30% more dorkier. First, watch up, Casio GShock. Casio introduced the GShock in the early 1980s, and I've worn one on and off for about the past 35 years. Great, affordable watch. I have dove with it, I have jumped with it, and it has seen hard use. I own two. I lost one during a move and bought another, and then of course after I bought the other one and replaced it, I found the original. Battery life from the manufacturer is supposed to be 2 years, but I've had them last much longer, and the batteries you're able to be replaced by the owner, but you have to know what you're doing. There is a certain procedure. I've had friends tell me after they've replaced the battery on their GShock that the lens has fogged up to the point where they become unusual, but that has not been my experience. There are many different models of GShocks. This one is the Illuminator, which is supposed to have a high output LCD light. There is a time and a place for having an alarm and a stopwatch on a digital watch. However, I can tell you from firsthand experience in a military setting, there are times where you absolutely have to be sure that that alarm is off. These are water resistance from Casio down to 200 meters or 660 feet, and as a sport diver, that is far deeper than you'll ever go. The price point is definitely right on GShocks. These two models, I believe the one on my left was bought for about $40 and the one on my right for about $60. There's many different models. Yeah, I'm sure you can find one that meets your needs. Seiko's men's analog automatic diver's watch was a watch I wore primarily for the 7 or 8 year period. Self-winding through motion, they can, require no batteries, and they cannot be manually wound. Once again, this watch has seen hard use and survived a 40-foot drop while I was rock climbing with only a few scratches. The innocent face is easily readable on this watch in the dark. When I bought it in the late 80s, the price was around $300. Your mileage may vary. This is a classic analog watch. For those of you that have watched the channel before, this is the watch that you've seen on my wrist. Rolex Submariner. It is the quintessential analog dive watch. Also the only watch you can wear with a wetsuit, fatigues, or a tuxedo and fit in perfectly. This was a wedding gift from my wife, and I've worn it as my primary watch for over 20 years. It is an old saying you could tell a Special Forces soldier by the Rolex on their wrist. Besides their legendary toughness and precision, in the early days of SF, they were also worn so that in an emergency, they could be used as a barter item as part of an evasion plan to be traded for something like maybe a plane ticket to get out of a hostile country. This one has no date. This is a tip to all young soldiers, and this tip is known by all married old soldiers. If your spouse buys you a thoughtful, classic item like this, do not complain that there is no date. These are not cheap, and they have only increased in value since it was purchased. This one was manufactured in 1985, and the seller assured us that it had been serviced. I had it serviced recently, just a few years ago, and the gentleman that worked on it assured us that it had never been serviced. This watch has seen a lot of hard use, and I've started to substitute wearing the GShock with it for certain things. But most days, I still wear the Rolex on my wrist. To give you some idea of the hard use my Rolex has seen, this is the original crystal that I had replaced when I had it serviced. I don't know if the camera can really do it justice, but it is nicked and beaten. Yet, despite all this, even when I took it in for service, it still kept very good time. Garmin Forerunner 401 GPS and watch. Yes, it tells time. Yes, it is a GPS. Works great, mounts on the wrist. Would I wear it every day? No way. I would strap it along my wrist. Works great, and they really are an awesome GPS that keeps great time. What don't you see here? Well, Sontu's and other Garmin watches. The Sun 2s are very likely a great watch. I just don't have any personal experience. I have a number of colleagues that have them that I respect a great deal, and they're widely in use, but I will just stick with my Rolex, my G-Shocks, and my Casios. Garmin also makes a number of high-quality watches, but other than the Fortrex 401, I don't have any of them. And the title of this is my favorite watches. So anyway, folks, there you have it. I'd love to see any comments that you have in the comment section. And to all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Season Greetings, Happy Kwanzaa, or if you choose not to celebrate the season at all, that is certainly your right. In any matter, this is Old Soldier out.